Welcome everybody. Welcome to the second High Life show here at the High Summit in Berlin, which means we're broadcasting live. My name is Zackes and I'm your host for this show. As you can see, people by now are having coffee break here. So back there, probably more networking going on and discussions about the keynotes that were held here in that space. And I'm really looking forward to engage you into conversation here with my interview guests in just a few moments. How so? Please just send us your questions to #HighLife. And if you're quick enough, I'll try to weave them into my discussion here with my interview guests. So, for those of you who are just joining us right now and maybe missed out on the first part of our show today, what is the High? The High brings together some really interesting investors with some really heavyweight blue chip companies from Germany like Bosch and Siemens, and of course the cream of the crop of European startups and entrepreneurs like Peter Thiel or, for example, Charles Adler, whom we had here just in the show before. So without talking any further, I would say we have a look what the keynote was like this morning. Enjoy.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the second day of our High Summit. We're super happy that all of you came so early, enjoyed the breakfast. Today is a bit different in the sense that it's the first day that we also have sessions upstairs. So all day long, on the first floor, there's gonna be what we call fireside sessions. And on this stage, we're gonna start with Klaus Hommels. He's one of the, I guess, most famous and most accomplished business angels in Europe. He flew in directly from New York from the Spotify board meeting just to be here. We really appreciate this. Please join me in welcoming on the stage Klaus Hommels.
My topic is the ecosystem of Europe, the internet ecosystem. And I would like to especially focus on one topic, which is the financing environment, because I think financing is the single most underestimated factor of success. I think what we can do is having an open discussion more between the relevant players of the offline world and us nerdy guys that have some spooky visions of the future to help us benefit mutually from the one and the other. And we should probably take care that we get some funding for the middle and later stage companies that we enable them to stay here.
Well, that was one of the keynotes this morning. Very interesting topic. Now we're here for interviews, I would say, right? So welcome, Idatin of Clue.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoy our couch here. You're obviously on the sunny side of life right now.
It's
here
wonderful.
In the afternoon interviews. So we saw the keynote a little bit. What was your morning like here at the High Conference?
Well, honestly, I've been doing a lot of media work, so I actually haven't seen as much as I would have liked to, but I'm definitely having a good time.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably that is because you're currently working on a startup that people just talk about a lot, is that?
Well, I think we are working with something that's important to a lot of people, so it makes sense.
And that would be Clue then, right? So
True.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about it to us as well. I know you did a lot, but...
Of course, I'm
Yes?
happy to. Yeah.
All right.
So Clue is an app that helps women keep track of their female cycle. So it basically tells women when they're going to have their next period, when they can actually get pregnant, and when they might experience some PMS, so bad mood, which is helpful because it's a pretty big part of our everyday life as women for like 40 years of our lives.
I suppose it is, right? I mean, a digital market means a lot, but you actually cover an absolute serious topic that is relevant for literally half the world's population.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you're kind of surprised how there has been such a lack of good digital tools for this part of life. And I think now we're seeing a generation of products that are, based on really good learning math, which is important. We've designed an app which is really rapid, so the data entry is fast, and it has some solid medical approved informational content, so women can actually learn about what is actually going on in case they don't really remember their biology classes from school.
I'd say we just have a look at what it looks like, because
Sure.
I think you did a lot of work also in the design process. So enjoy this video about Clue. Having had this look at Clue, I must say it does look very slick. I love that there's no cutesy, designy language, no pink stuff happening there. Must look very sound to women, I suppose. Does appeal probably.
Yeah, I think there's a big misconception that if you want to do something which is for women, it needs to be pink. When in fact, most women, they don't want to have pink utilities. We've designed something which is confident, scientific, and non-pink.
Well, no, I mentioned before it applies to literally half the world's population over a span of 40 years. It must be a huge market.
It is. It's true.
There are probably like some really serious competitors out there. So like Max Levchin of PayPal also has a startup out there, Glow, also an app. So how do you defend yourself, or what is like your USP within that section?
I think first of all, when Max Levchin launched Glow, talked about it, All Thing D, last summer, it was great for us because suddenly this field became kind of important and serious because somebody like him was doing it and is educating the market. So I think it's great having a good competitor. I think, however, that we are quite different. You know, they're very US focused. They're working on some enterprise and insurance models that we are not. So we're much more consumer facing, and I think one of the things we do differently is that we really look to help women track this important part of their lives throughout many years and not in one particular phase, like trying for a baby. We are really quantified self for fertility for many years.
Now, one thing probably that's also make a big distinction is that you set out to bring in innovation into the birth control sector. You already stated in a lot of interviews, nothing much has happened ever since the pill came out. Now you're not only working on an app, but you're working also on a piece of hardware. I know it's secret, and I'm not going to try to get the secret out of you here. But what I'm really interested in is that, bring out an app is one thing, and then building a piece of hardware that actually has to be absolutely fail-proof. Well, just in case you wonder what that was a waiter back there dropping a tray of glasses, but I think he's fine. So let's continue. So yeah, it has to be fail-proof. Like, accidents happen, as we just saw literally. When it happens there, that would be an absolute disastrous, I suppose, for these women. Being such a small startup, how do you leverage doing so serious hardware development?
So I think when you do a hardware startup and you at the same time it's also a digital startup, you have to be really good at drawing in talent from many different areas. So partnerships and experts, and of course building a team that's diverse. We are a 9-people team now, and we are going to grow. So we are hiring a lot of great people to help us do all these things that we are doing. It's a team effort. We need a great team. So that's what we're building.
Now I was so interested in your topic, I almost forgot the Twitter question, so we'll have to be really quick with that.
Right,
I mean, you had now enough chance at least to come up with questions, so let's dive into that. That's a funny question. That comes from Stay Relaxed. Is it only women who use that app?
No, actually one of the things that has surprised us is that we have a lot of male users. So
really?
These are guys that track their partner's cycles. Maybe they want to know when she might get a little bit difficult or grumpy.
Right,
but funny enough, a lot of women have actually asked us to build a feature where they can share with their partner, which makes sense. It's a couple thing of,
Very interesting, wouldn't have thought of that.
So we have a lot of cool features coming up, stay tuned.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're a young startup right now, and we wish you all the best, all the success you can have in the following years.
Thank you, yes.
What's really interesting to us, of course, is that there are a lot of startups who, they're just up and running for quite a lot of years already. One of them, for example, being GetYourGuide, founded by Johannes Reck. And he just came in from the Valley this morning, flew into Berlin, and actually he's not here anymore because he's visiting his Berlin office to take care of his affairs. But we used the opportunity this morning to pre-record an interview with him. Check it out. Hi Johannes, how are you doing?
Doing very well. How are you doing?
Fine, fine. You just flew in this morning. Where did you come from?
I actually came from San Francisco, from Silicon Valley this morning, where I spent a couple of days. I do that every, I would say, 2 to 3 months, just to sort of like get a feel, often for recruiting purposes, talking to a bunch of investors and just getting a feeling basically for the ecosystem there, which is obviously extremely interesting for us.
And so you just recently raised 14 million. Considering that you started off at university, like as a student project, how does it feel now to suddenly be dealing with such big numbers?
Stuff like you grow into it step by step, so you don't end up raising 14 million, which was our A round, 1.5 years ago. You don't grow into this overnight. So it's actually a question that I get quite a lot, and my typical answer is you have to imagine that it's a little bit like, if you work for a bank or something, that you don't start out dealing with the big numbers right away. You start with smaller stuff, and then also your traction and your revenue grows, and then slowly over time, you grow into this larger size, and you can raise bigger amounts of funding, and then it feels very natural. It's actually not something completely new that you're just confronted with. It's more like a natural progression. I think the interesting thing in the startup world is just that it happens so fast. So your progression is not something that goes over 10 years, but it's more like something that goes over 1 or 2 years. And you as a founder or a CEO just have to be prepared to learn very quickly and to adapt to these new realities very quickly.
Does it change the vibe? Are they watching you closely when when they give you this kind of money?
I think it would be a lie if you would say it doesn't change the vibe. The vibe is continuously changed. You are in a natural progress, no matter whether you take big investor money or small investor money. If you grow, if you grow fast, your company, organization, your culture and everything around it will be changed on a monthly basis. Many people don't acknowledge how hard it is to actually work in companies that are growing so fast, because everything that you do is just constantly changing, and you have to learn and adapt all the time.
So that does sound like a big part of having such an investor moving in is really his experience and his knowledge and advice.
These investors, it's often overhyped, and I think people have a wrong conception of what they actually do. They will give advice, they will give mentoring, they will give schooling, tutoring, but they won't do the job for you. The job has been done by the executive team. You are in charge of growing your company. You're in charge of the strategy. You have as the CEO and founder, you have the ultimate vote on it.
If I imagine your everyday work, like, a day in the life of Johannes Reck as the CEO, if you look at that, what did change?
2.5 years ago, I was picking up customer calls, I was doing sales deals, I was doing business development, I was doing everything. The bigger the company gets, the less you're removed from the day-to-day, and the more you're actually you will take your power and you will take your weight that you inevitably have as a founder and CEO. I don't see my role in dictating my employees what they have to do. I actually want to be the person who helps them actually make their own decisions, and who helps them grow, and is basically the fertile ground for them to run off and do great things.
Take away your way. These were the last words of Johannes Reck in this interview, and just off camera, continuing, he said that's probably the key to success, which I found really interesting, is because he said basically that as a founder you have to learn to let go of the creative process, trust your employees to really take care of that, and focus on operations, which probably is one of the hardest things to do if this is your baby. So now, obviously, one of the hottest trends in the digital realm at the moment is online payment services. And here at the High Conference, we also were so lucky to find one person focusing on that, and that is Tarvet Henricus, also a super busy person at the moment. And what's really interesting about him is that he literally was the very first employee of Skype. So he was at the forefront when Skype came out and challenged the established business models of telecommunication industries. And well, guess what? He's now out there doing exactly the same within the financial sector. So have a look at it. So tell us, what is so disruptive about Transferwise and how does it work?
So I think in a way there's been a major disruption happening in all of industries. So we can see that telecommunication has been disrupted with Skype. We can see that travel has been disrupted with low-cost airlines, with online travel agents, with comparison shopping. Music has been disrupted with Spotify and RDO and so on. But one thing that has not been disrupted is retail banking. And what we can see is now people have gotten used to having a cheaper, a faster and a much more transparent service in all of these other sectors. And now people are going to banks saying, we want cheaper, faster and better. And that's what we're doing. We're giving people cheaper, faster, better in banking.
If I go on Transferwise, how does it exactly work?
Transferwise is an online money transfer platform. We let people and businesses transfer money overseas for a very low cost, online, in a very easy to use way.
You just started out like in 2012, I believe?
Yes, we've been live for 3 years right now. We started with me and my co-founder 3 years ago. Now we're a team of 70 people. We started out supporting 2 currencies, now we have more than 20, and we're transferring millions on a daily basis.
You have a growth rate of 20 to 30% monthly. If you look back, maybe imagine yourself at the high 2015, you look back, what will have happened until then?
So we're really building a global sustainable business. And I think this growth rate is just illustrative of the need for innovation in financial services.
Are you able to scale your startup so quickly?
It's hard. Everything breaks on a constant basis. So there are 2 constants we all know. It's change and growth. Our number 1 priority is growth, number 2 is growth, number 3 is growth. That's what everyone deals with on a daily basis. Things which happened 2 months ago are ancient.
And then does that mean also that an exit strategy is important to you?
What is exit strategy? Honestly, we've never thought about it. No, none of our investors has ever asked us about that. Our exit strategy is to build a global sustainable company.
Well, online payment obviously is a huge trend. There's lots of stuff happening. If you look left and right of Transferwise, what do you see happening there?
I think it's super exciting to see that there is 10 or 12 different verticals inside finance which are being disrupted by startups. We have money transfer with Transferwise. We have lots of stuff happening in lending with Funding Circle, Lending Club and SOPA. We have tons of stuff happening in crowdfunding, and I love what AngelList is doing there. The stuff that Nutmeg and Wealthfront are doing in asset management are amazing. So I think there is so much happening in so many verticals that I just don't see what the banks are doing there anymore.
Do you have one last word to say for people out there maybe having a go at their own startup?
Just do it. So the biggest problem is getting started. Most people get stuck at dreaming about, oh, I'd like to do this or that. Just get the hell going.
Well, thanks a lot for the questions and answers. I hope you enjoy the high. Have a good time. Well, that was shooting some straight questions at Tarvet. So, online payment, a huge trend. One other big thing, and that's really probably one of the most game-changing technologies to watch, is augmented reality. And well, guess what? Here she is, Annette of Metaio, and your company is focusing exactly on that. Yeah. Maybe you want to talk about augmented reality.
Hi, Zackes. Yeah, maybe I start from the scratch and explain what augmented reality is.
Absolutely, yes.
Augmented reality means I want to enhance my real environment. So I do it via mobile devices like smartphones or tablets. And actually augmented reality is overlaying virtual information over the real world. So that's what we are doing. We are a software company, but also doing great projects like the IKEA catalog application or some maintenance and service applications for Volkswagen and Audi, for example. So that's some of the big projects.
Now, augmented reality really is new, and I guess a lot of people might not have seen it yet. So we'll check out the video that you made.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Well, that was a nice video, I must say.
You liked
I
it?
love the penguins, absolutely.
Everyone likes the penguins.
But now I suppose you mentioned some really big shots from the old economy. So I suppose there's some really serious applications of this.
For augmented reality?
Yes.
Yeah, serious applications like service and maintenance applications, like we showcased in Barcelona at the Mobile World Congress. We showed for a Mitsubishi Climate Machine maintenance application for the Epson classes, where the technicians got immediately the information he needs for repairing the machine, for example, like step-by-step instructions, which tool to use in this moment, and it's very useful application. So.
Quite challenging probably to tie these things together.
Yeah.
On the one hand, software development, on the other hand, the bridge to the old economy or industry.
Yeah, indeed.
Before I go any further, I'm gonna check my Twitter questions. I must use this timing. So, let me see. Just takes a moment. Sorry, this is live, you see. I'll take that one. That's from @SWagner11. Well, referring to exactly what we speak, and that is, how did you manage the cooperation with IKEA?
I think, as far as I know, IKEA reached out to us saying, okay, we want this and that, and it came out, okay, this is probably 6 applications in one. Let's do it step by step. So in 2012, I guess, we had it that you can scan the pages and you get additional information on the 2D printing object, like the catalog. And now it's possible that, like you saw in the video, to add really in the new application, it's possible that you add the virtual furniture into your real room. So this was.
It did look really lovely in the video when they made this little
pile.
pile.
It's a lot of
Absolutely,
fun to do it.
And what I think is really interesting that IKEA reached out to you, because what I heard also here on the conference is that mostly like these startups fly under the radar of the big companies, and so it seems like rather unusual that they pick it up already. I mean, you started 10 years ago.
Long
and
time.
Still it's game changing.
Yeah.
So why is it that people still need time to pick it up?
For the US, for example, augmented reality is already a term everyone is familiar with. They say, okay, Metaio, are you doing the IKEA stuff, right? When you come in Germany to a conference saying, we did the IKEA application, do you know? No, can you show me? And they are so excited about it, and this is really cool. So what we are doing now is going to conferences, going to companies and telling them about augmented reality, showing them what is possible with it, because most of the people still don't know about it. And like you saw in the Penguin Navi application, which was developed in Japan, there are so much great use cases for it, and I love just the navigation use cases.
Talking about exciting conferences and news, I mean, that's where we're at here, right?
Yeah.
At the High Conference. So basically we're at the end already of these 2 days almost. What were the highlights for you? What news did you take with you?
It was the speech of Ijad Madish from ResearchGate, the founder of ResearchGate. It was just amazing to see. He had this great vision. And he said, people, go and build up your startup. Be crazy, be disruptive, and just do it. And take a Russian for your company. That's what he mentioned.
Take a what?
A Russian. A Russian person.
Oh, take
is
a Russian
always
for your Oh, that's nice.
You always need a Russian in your company when you are going to be successful, okay? But it was really great. He had this super good vision, and that's what we need.
Lovely. I think basically you did the most perfect wrap-up. I couldn't do it any better. I mean, what kind of message is that? Go out there, be disruptive, take a Russian for your company. And that brings us already to the end of our second live show here from the High Summit in Berlin. I must say we probably couldn't do perfect time again. You can hear the gong. We have to move inside the hall. It's like they know it. Probably somebody's there and pushing the button to end the show. But yeah, I think we have to do it. Also, the sun, I heard, is giving me like some kind of back glow.
Let's go to the beach now.
So let's leave this hot seat here. I hope you enjoyed the show. Of course, if you missed the first live show today, you can still have a look at it. Also, if this one, they're both recorded and they'll be available online at www.weber-shandwick.com/highlife. So check out the shows there. Of course, feel free to spread them. We love that. And I hope we could inspire you. If you're out there, you want to have a go at your idea, do it. Maybe you end up sitting here, giving lovely interviews, meeting investors. If you want to get to know what's up in the scene, also come here. You see breaking news, super interesting insights. And well, make sure to be here next year. It was a pleasure to have you here. It was a pleasure that you sent us all these lovely Twitter questions. And having said that, I'd say goodbye.